Paul had always preferred the quiet solitude of the night shift. He worked as a data analyst at a mid-sized company, and his job required focus, something he rarely got during the chaotic daytime hours. At night, the office was his sanctuary. The soft hum of the overhead lights, the rhythmic click of his keyboard, and the occasional sound of the air conditioner were his only companions. It was 2:13 a.m. when Paul first noticed it. A faint clicking noise came from somewhere down the hallway. He paused, fingers hovering above his keyboard, and listened intently. It sounded like heels tapping on the tiled floor. "Hello?" Paul called out, his voice cutting through the silence. No response. He shook his head, dismissing it as his imagination. The office was empty, he was sure of it. He had checked the entrance logs when he arrived, and no one else had entered since 8 p.m. He went back to his work, but the clicking persisted. This time, it sounded closer. "Maybe it's the air ducts," he muttered, though the explanation felt hollow. Suddenly, his computer screen flickered. The spreadsheet he'd been working on vanished, replaced by a black screen. In the center of it was a blinking cursor. "What the hell?" Paul whispered, trying to regain control of his computer. The cursor began to move on its own. Letters appeared one by one, forming a single, chilling sentence: "You are not alone." Paul's heart pounded. He pushed his chair back, standing up, to scan the room. It was empty, just as it had been all night. The clicking returned, louder this time. It was unmistakable, footsteps, and they were approaching. He grabbed his phone, activating the flashlight, and ventured out into the hallway. The light cut through the darkness, revealing empty cubicles and abandoned desks. "Hello," he called out again, his voice trembling. A shadow moved at the far end of the hallway. It was quick, almost imperceptible, but Paul saw it. "Someone, or something, was there. Who's there?" he demanded, his voice cracking. The shadow didn't respond. Instead, the clicking resumed, this time echoing all around him. Paul turned in circles, trying to pinpoint the source, but it was as if the sound came from everywhere at once. Suddenly, the office lights flickered and went out. Paul's phone flashlight was the only source of illumination now. He fumbled to call for help, but his phone screen went black, dead, despite having been fully charged moments ago. Breathing heavily, Paul stumbled back to his desk, hoping to find some semblance of safety. As he reached his chair, he noticed something that hadn't been there before. A pair of red high heels sat neatly beneath his desk. Paul froze, his blood turning to ice. The footsteps stopped. Then, directly behind him, a cold, raspy whisper said, "Why did you take my place?" Paul spun around, but there was no one there. The next morning, when his coworkers arrived, Paul's desk was empty. His phone, keys, and even his wallet were still there, but Paul was gone. No one ever saw him again. And late at night, when the office is quiet, some say you can still hear the clicking of high heels echoing through the hallways.